Hi everyone, I'm Melissa. Today I'm going to present our workbook summary of chapter 3. The chapter is about basic logical concepts. It includes subheadings. The first one is how can we tell whether an argument is deductive or inductive? And the second one is common patterns of deductive reasoning. And the third one is common patterns of inductive reasoning. And the other one, deductive validity, and the other one, inductive strength. If you are ready, let's start it. Before we can effectively assess an argument, we should comprehend what kind of argument is being offered. Conventionally, there are two types of argument. First one is deductive argument, and the second one is inductive argument. Since the standards for assessing these two types of arguments are quite distinctive, it's significant to comprehend the differences between these two types. Let's look at what are deductive arguments and inductive arguments. First one is deductive arguments try to prove their conclusions with shortened and inescapable logic. And the other one, inductive arguments, try to show that their conclusions are plausible or more likely given the premises. And there is an example about deductive arguments. Let's look at all humans are mortal. Socrates is human. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. As we can see, argument's conclusion follows necessarily from the premises, and we see there is a path from general to specific. Let's move. On the other hand, inductive arguments simply allege that their conclusions are likely or probable given the premises offered. And there is an example. Every ruby so far discovered has been red, so probably all rubies are red. And as we can see, there is a path from specific to general. Let's move. Yeah. How can we tell whether an argument is deductive or inductive? There are 4 tests that quite simplify the task of determining whether an argument should be regarded as deductive or inductive. The first test is the indicator word test. The second one is the strict necessity test. The third one is the common pattern test. And the fourth, the principle of charity test. Let's start with the indicator word test. Just as we use indicator words to signal the allegation of premises or conclusions, we also use these words to signal when our arguments or claims are deductive or inductive. And there are some common deduction indicator words. You can see certainly, definitely, absolutely, conclusively. It logically follows that it's logical to conclude that this logically implies that this entails that. And these are some common indicator word, induction indicator words also. You can see probably, likely, it's plausible to suppose that it's reasonable to assume that one would expect that it's a good bet that chances are that, odds are that. Let's move. And the second test, the strict necessity test. The strict necessity test can be stated as follows. An argument's conclusion either follows with strict logical necessity from its premises or it does not. Second, if the argument's conclusion does follow with strict logical necessity from its premises, the argument should always be treated as deductive. And the third, if the argument's conclusion does not follow with strict logical necessity from its premises, the argument should normally be treated as inductive. And there is an example. Alan is a father, therefore Alan is a male. And or by definitions, fathers are males. So according to strict necessity test, the argument is clearly deductive. And the other test is the common pattern test. The common pattern test can be applied to identify which kind of reasoning we are dealing with. And there is an example. If we are in Paris, then we are in France. We are in Paris, therefore we are in France. Maybe it's difficult to understand, so we can name the statement as a letter. A represents the statement we are in Paris, and the letter B represents the statement we are in Paris. It's thought like that. Let's move. The other test, the principle of charity test. The principle of charity serves two important targets in critical thinking. First one, it grows goodwill and mutual understanding. And the second one, it promotes the discovery of truth. And there is an example, and we will analyze it. Let's look at, Andy told me that he ate at Maxine's restaurant yesterday, but Maxine's was completely destroyed by fire less than a month ago. It's certain, therefore, that Andy is either lying or mistaken. First, we have indicated words about deductive. It's close to deductive argument. Second, there is no strict necessity. Maybe the restaurant has been quickly rebuilt or reopened. It's close to inductive. Well, is it deductive or inductive? Here, the charity test is forefront. Its basic purpose, its basic aim is to help us decide what arguments are actually being offered, not to place bad arguments with ones we think are better. Therefore, the principle should be used only when there is genuine uncertainty about how arguments should be interpreted. Let's move. And there is, in this page, there is common patterns of deductive reasoning. The first one is hypothetical syllogism, a three-line argument that is an argument that consists make up of exactly two premises and a conclusion. And the common pattern of deductive reasoning, also the quickest way to identify whether an argument is deductive or inductive is to a pattern of reasoning that's characteristically deductive or inductive, we can say, if we don't pass it. And there is an example about hypothetical syllogism. If the Tigers beat the Yankees, then the Tigers will make the playoff. The Tigers will beat Yankees, so the Tigers will make the playoffs. And the second one is categorical syllogism, a three-line argument in which each statement begins with the word all, some, or no. And there is example, all oaks are trees, all trees are plants, so all oaks are plants, we can see. And the third one is argument by elimination. Search logically rule out various possibilities until just a single possibility remains. And there is an example, either Joe walked to the library or he drove, but Joe didn't drive to the library, so Joe walked to the library. And the other argument based on mathematics, the conclusion is claimed to rest largely or utterly completely on some mathematical calculation or measurement. There is an example, 8 is greater than 4, 4 is greater than 2, so 8 is greater than 2, we can say. And the other one, argument from definition, the conclusion is presented, offered as being true by definition. And there is an example, Jamila is a cardiologist, therefore she is a doctor, we can say. And let's move on. And in this page, there is common patterns of inductive reasoning. There are 6 common inductive reasoning. The first one is inductive generalization, is a statement that attributes some characteristic to all or most members of a given class. And there is an example, all dinosaurs bones so far discovered have been more than 65 million years old. So probably all dinosaurs bones are more than 65 million years old. The second one is predictive argument. A prediction is defended with reasons. And there is example, most US presidents have been tall. Therefore, it's probably the next US president will be tall. And the third one is argument from authority. Allets a claim and then supports that claim by citing some presumed authority or witness. Authority witness who has said that the claim is true. And there is example, whatever the Bible teaches is true. The Bible teaches that we should love our neighbors, so we should love our neighbors. And the other one, causal argument, asserts or denies that something is the cause of something else. And there is example, I can't log on. The network must be down, we can say. And the other one, statistical argument, largely rests on statistical evidence, that is, evidence that some percentage of some group or class has some particular characteristic. Example, 83% of Stephen's students are Episcopalian. Beatrice is a Stephen student, so Beatrice is probably Episcopalian. And the other one, argument from analogy, the conclusion is claimed to rest on an analogy between two or more things. And there is example, Paulo is a graduate of Central University, so most likely Paulo is bright, energetic, and dependable person, we can say. Let's move. In this page, there is deductive validity. A valid deductive argument is an argument in which it's impossible for all the premises to be true and the conclusion false. If If the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. The conclusion follows necessarily from the premises. The premises provide logically conclusive grounds for the truth of the conclusion, and it's logically inconsistent to claim all the premises as true and deny the conclusion. And there is an example about deductive validity. If you are reading this, you are alive. You are reading this, so you are alive. We can say smooth. And in this page, there is inductive strength. In a strong inductive argument, the conclusion follows probably from the premises. If the premises are true, the conclusion is probably true. The premises provide probable but not logically conclusive grounds for the truth of the conclusion. And the premises, if true, make the conclusion likely. And there is an example about inductive strength. Most college students own MP3 players. Andy is a college student, so he probably owns an MP3 player, we can say. Let's move. And that's the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening.